So my character is Frederick Eggerman. He is a lawyer. He's been previously married and widowed. He had a sort of fling relationship with Desiree for, we discussed, like a month's sort of time, maybe a year, but yeah, around that time, which then didn't work out for reasons that I'm not going to tell you. But he's kind of, he's a thinker, right? He's in his head all the time, and he's very thought process and arguing over what he should do, this thing or that thing. But he is now currently married to an old family friend of his who is an 18-year-old virgin. And he has a son who is 19 and is off at school and comes back and visits.
Desiree Armfeld is an actress. She is quite the opposite of Frederick in that she's not, she uses her head, but she's more wily and very worldly and passionate, and wants to just go and live life. And she has a daughter from the aforementioned affair.
Which Frederick doesn't know about.
That is true. He does not. He's trying hard not to know about that, I think. And she's quite effervescent and loves to play games, and but coming to her middle years, feeling like she's kind of maybe missed out on some of the more important things.
When you get to a certain point as an actor, you're it's kind of by rote. It's like, okay, I read the script, I do research on my character, I read what do other characters say about me, what does my character do. But I think the most fun part is when you finally get in the room and you're with the other characters. Like we talked about, the relationship that they had previously is only hinted about in the script. There's no definites of anything, when it happened, how long it was. It's just that there was a relationship and it ended. So talking about what do we think happened, and what works best for kind of the way we're going with this show, and let's try it this way, and then how is it different if it's this way, and that involves the director as well. So getting input from his side of things, and then Rose's side of things, and my side of things. That's the most fun, and that's why rehearsals. That's why it's nice to have a longer rehearsal period, so you can kind of play with those things and really create a character with the other characters involved.
I agree that the rehearsal process was very. It was challenging, but it was really, really fun to just kind of begin to understand, and still learning and understanding things about the character, and different things that Alex throws out every night makes me think of things a little differently, or makes me see a different part of the character or their story that I didn't think of before.
Yeah, it doesn't ever cancel anything out. It just adds to it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, it gets a little more in-depth every time you do it.
The director of the show is Todd Nielsen. This was my first experience working with Todd.
Mine as well.
I've seen him perform locally, but and I was blown away at the things I've seen. Todd let us play around a lot. He had ideas, and we went with that, and then we maybe introduced our own ideas, or can we try this? And he was very open to letting us play around. We had a rehearsal where I think Alex and I spent all of the rehearsal, most of the rehearsal, just talking about the backstory, and talking about that relationship. How long did it last? Why did we break up? And that was really cool to spend a couple hours just delving into that with Todd giving his take on it. And
other directors might think that meant we didn't do anything in rehearsal, right? We didn't block anything. We didn't work on singing. There wasn't anything to show for what we did. But Todd understood how important that was, and was able to let us really delve into that and figure it out, because it was important for our relationship. We have like a 20-minute scene, and it's kind of important that the audience stays with us in that. Sometimes when you have just two characters on stage for that amount of time, it's easy for people to just float away, and you really can't with these two characters. There's so much going on. So getting to explore that. And Todd has such an eye for detail. Like every time he would give us notes, he'd be like, well, what about this tiny moment where I noticed you weren't quite doing this exact character this way that we've talked about? And it's like, oh yeah, you're totally right. Yeah. So getting the outside view and being able to then incorporate that and try it again, it's really great to work with him.
I've actually come back to the show. I did it 14 years ago when the Camelot did it in the old theater, and it's been truly, wow, it's been amazing to come back to a show that meant a lot to me when I did it, because I didn't know anybody. I was brand new, and I got to know the Camelot and the theater and the people there. And I love the music. I love what Sondheim wrote and how he he just made the story so exciting and beautiful with the music he wrote. So I'm just delighted to come back to it.
And this is my first time with this show. I didn't know, and as I was cast, I really didn't know the show at all. And every time I do it, it just gets better and better, and I like it more and more and more. And that doesn't always happen. So it's nice that it happens with this. But the one thing that I love about this show is that I went into it thinking that it was a drama, and I've realized it is very much a comedy. Yeah. And that's great. Like the fact that it can walk that line is amazing. But then the fact that it was like, oh no, there's a lot of humor in these people's lives. And I mean, it almost is a farce. It just doesn't have doors, right? But it really is. And realizing that and the freedom of that has been great to experience. And then it lets us laugh a lot more too, which we always enjoy.
Oh yeah.